I realize that there's a lot of store-bought chocolate puddings that your child may enjoy, and it might be really interesting for you guys to try making this chocolate pudding with a lot of more wholesome ingredients from scratch and see how your kiddo likes it.
Welcome! Thanks for joining us on One Meal Fits All for Busy Moms.
Everything that we share today in this video is for general information only, and it's not to replace any information from your own healthcare provider. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we are gonna make our
Avocado chocolate pudding.
Yes, we are. All right, so all it is we're gonna put different things into here, and Mommy's gonna put down the food processor, and the first thing we're gonna put actually is an avocado. We're gonna teach your kids to use a claw hand so that they don't, good job, Mama. So the avocado we're actually gonna cut this way. As parents, you always wanna monitor very closely, even though they're using kid-safe knives. And so, Mama, what we're gonna do, claw hand? Yeah, very good. And then we're gonna cut lengthwise. Oh, very good. See, that's a nicely soft avocado.
So you just cut around and then you get a spoon and then you get all the flesh out.
Yeah. Okay, Mama, now we open. We open the surprise. What's inside? Good. Okay, now what do we do though? How do we get the pit out?
Get the pit out.
Hey, yeah, so with a sharper knife, we can just tap the pit and then bring it out, right? But this one, I have a feeling we can just kind of brush it out. And where does this go?
Compost.
Good job. Compost. Right? Compost. We carefully plant it. Okay. So now, when we've done this, we're just going to put one avocado
Into the blender.
into our food processor, but using a spoon. Now, while we do that, I already washed this lemon. Coco, do you want to cut this lemon in half?
Don't we need to take out the seeds?
We will later. If you want to try picking out the seeds while Momoy's still finished, you can use a fork. So into the food processor goes one avocado. We're gonna put the lemon in pretty soon. When cooking with children, it's important for the caregiver, who is you, to assess their abilities. So when they were younger, I wouldn't have given them this style of knife. They may have just helped with mixing and stirring. As they got a little bit older and they learned more skills, I felt comfortable kind of advancing them, but watching very closely. Because at the end of the day, we wanna teach them food literacy, which is unfortunately, I think, in my opinion, one of those things that don't get taught as much anymore. I'm a big fan of home economics, and if I didn't become a dietitian, I often say I would have become a home ec teacher, because I had the best one in the world. Miss Louie, if you're watching, I think very highly of you. I just think that learning how to cook is a life skill, and I think it's very important to impart that onto the next generation, because cooking and eating is going to be a part of their lives no matter who they choose to become in the future in terms of career or just on their life's journey.
You take all of that?
Okay, I think you did too. So can you just squeeze the lemon into that ramekin, please? Okay. So we're gonna put one avocado, and then if you have a fresh banana, that's totally fine. I actually don't have fresh bananas, but I remember putting a few frozen ones. So we're gonna use a frozen one, and that's gonna work perfectly fine. Tell me, which banana should we throw into? Yeah, you pick one. Okay. So the bananas are totally frozen. Now, I didn't realize when I was freezing them that there's a method. So according to Google, you can cut the fresh banana into slices, and you can, freeze them individually and then put them in the bag. I didn't know any of that, and that's okay. So what I did was I honestly saw 3 really ripe bananas. I peeled them all, and I just directly together put them into my freezer, and they turned out okay. Like they're not clumped together, and it's gonna work out just fine. So if you ever have like super ripe bananas, or you're buying them super ripe from the store, you can do that to just preserve the longevity of your bananas and use them in a variety of ways.
Oh, those 3.
We only need one banana. And I have to be honest, I have a very high-powered food processor. This Ninja works really well, and I think it can take care of this whole frozen banana. But in case you are worried, I do have a really sharp knife, and I can actually slice this frozen banana quite easily, like butter almost, so that the food processor doesn't have to work as hard. Can you help me put those pieces into the processor as well. So far it's 1 avocado, 1 banana, fresh or frozen, and then I'm gonna go grab some soy milk. Now you can use regular milk. It's just that our family, we're trying to go a bit more plant forward these days, so we're actually gonna use an unsweetened soy milk. And just a little pro tip, in terms of soy milk, they're not all created equal. And if you look on the label, like this particular brand actually doesn't have much in terms of calcium fortification. So if you are exclusively drinking plant milk instead of regular cow's milk, you do want to be careful to watch for the calcium content. Regular milk actually has roughly about 300 to 350 milligrams of calcium in 1 cup, but this particular brand of soy milk only has 30 milligrams. And an adult, again, generally speaking, you need about 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams of calcium a day. And if you're choosing a plant milk, you do want to be mindful that you don't want to assume that it automatically has all the calcium that you need. Are we feeling strong?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, you hold. Okay. We're going to measure to 1 cup. So, Mumbai, now you have 1 cup of soy milk. And you're going to pour that into here. Very good. So for caregivers watching out there smiling along, you do have to know that cooking with kids, it's a commitment. And it can get messy, and you will be interrupted, and it will take a bit longer.
Mom, can I pour in the lemon zest?
Almost. No, you're not pouring all of that in, Gogo. So the reason why you squeeze that is because we need to measure out how much. So now we need to put in, what does this look like?
Cocoa powder.
Cocoa powder. Okay, 2 tablespoons each. So as level as you get it, don't worry, it's forgiving, this recipe. 1 and 2. 1 more. So things like measuring, cutting, squeezing, like all of these are skills. And the more skills that your child develops, the more you can add on to their ability to cook. I'm choosing to not use the stove or any heat elements because they're not quite tall enough yet for our home kitchen. And so you really got to assess for safety and do what's right for your family, okay? Okay, so for us,
Agave syrup.
agave syrup, yeah. So instead of using maple syrup, which we ran out of at home, you can use any sweetener of choice, but we happen to have agave nectar, which is a type of plant-based, naturally sweet syrup. So just like maple syrup comes from trees, this agave syrup comes from agave plants. And we're just gonna add 2 tablespoons. So Momo, you can add a tablespoon and squeeze that in. So.
What?
I realize that there's a lot of store-bought chocolate puddings that your child may enjoy, and it might be really interesting for you guys to try making this chocolate pudding with a lot of more wholesome ingredients from scratch and see how your kiddo likes it. All right, so we just need 1 teaspoon now of the lemon juice that you guys did such an awesome job of squeezing out. So 1 teaspoon, okay? Teaspoon is different than tablespoon.
It's smaller.
It's smaller, yeah. There's 3 teaspoons that go into a tablespoon. I'm gonna lift that for you gently. Yeah, 1. Oh, more. 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. Good. Okay, and that's it. Okay. So now what we're gonna do? Okay, it's gonna be loud, guys, and then we're gonna press. Yeah, you can press actually any of them. It's okay.
Wait, can you
press puree?
dough?
Okay.
Press dough. Wait, press dough. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna take a look. Now, every time we make this, it's a little bit different because the size of the banana, the size of the avocado is a little bit different. This time,
It's more watery.
it's more watery. So can you see that? It's more liquidy. So there's a couple things we can do here. We can thicken it up by
Cocoa
adding,
powder.
not so much the cocoa powder, but we can add another banana, or we can add another avocado, or if we like it just like this, honestly,
I want banana.
it might thicken up on its own.
Mom, can you add banana?
Yeah, we can add 1 more banana.
No.
I think just thicken it up. Because otherwise it's going to taste like a chocolate milkshake. Now, this is real life. Next time, I think what we can do is add less milk. If we know that avocado is a little bit small. But this time, we can just add another banana. And see if that's enough.
Okay.
Is it okay to make little mistakes and have things not turn out the way you thought?
Yeah.
Totally. There you go. Yeah, it's definitely thicker and more pudding-like. Now, As you can see here, it's a little bit more thick. It could be even thicker, but I know that if I let this sit in the refrigerator for longer and let it rest for that 1 hour, that it will actually get even thicker. Okay.
Can you put it in the refrigerator?
No, we don't put it in just like that. We're gonna put it into little cups. So this is what you can do at home too, is you can add, give me 1 second.
Put 4 cups, because there's 4 of us.
What we're gonna do is just pour it into the 4 cups. So we could have done a better job. Like there are some clumps of banana there, but that's okay. Thank you, Christian. Ooh.
It's still.
I think it spilled too.
It's still to spill.
It did, right? Okay. Thank you guys. If you have a super little one who's maybe just 6 to 12 months, this is probably, as the recipe stands, it might not be the most appropriate because when your little one is just 6 months old, for example, you really want to avoid giving added sugar so that your child has a chance to enjoy foods in their most natural state. But it doesn't mean that you can't give them parts of this recipe. So you can totally serve them some frozen banana. And like this frozen one that's just been sitting on the counter, it's actually been getting softer and softer. And so if you did want to give your little baby some of this frozen banana, depending on where your baby's at, if your child is already able to hold in a pincer grasp around 9 months old and be able to hold this actually might be like a slice of frozen banana might actually be really good because then they can soothe their gums. And then in terms of the avocado, if your little one is, for example, doing some baby-led weaning, you can actually just give an entire slice of the avocado. This is a rather small avocado and it's gonna get really messy, but they'll be able to enjoy parts of this recipe and be part of the family experience of enjoying food together. And I really hope you enjoyed making that chocolate avocado pudding with us today.